In 1941, a big mystery question was hanging over planet Earth in the very beginning of the nuclear arms race. Was Nazi Germany close to having an atomic bomb? How close was Nazi Germany of building the bomb? Did Nazi Germany, heaven forbid, already build the bomb? And what did the Americans know about it? The story of my two spy friends, Sam and Erwin, and a professional baseball player gone assassin might contain the answer to that very mystery. Hello darlings, welcome to another episode of Spies and Dies, in which we follow the fascinating movie-like adventures of Erwin Respondik and Sam Edison Woods. I'm Astrid Deinhard. Last time, I explained that Sam is a commercial attaché to the US Embassy in Berlin and Erwin, a well-connected German ex-economic professor and consultant, navigating the highest levels of German military, industrial and scientific elite. Both absolutely hate the Nazi and the Nazi Party and use their connections to obstruct everything that they stand for. Erwin and Sam warned the American governments about Operation Barbarossa, the impending invasion of the Soviet Union. It was passed on to Stalin, but as we all know, he did not believe any of Sam's and Erwin's or any other reports sent to him, so he had to face the Germans largely unprepared in the attack of June 1941. How frustrated Erwin and Sam were because of that is not common knowledge, but we can assume they had to pour themselves a couple of stiff drinks. Their next mission is dynamite. Better said, radioactive. The USA is on alert, bigly. The information they have is the following. German scientists have managed to split the atom, which the chemist could not explain theoretically, especially since this bursting contradicted all previous physical experiences. With that, you can make a big bomb. So Adolf Hitler loves this bursting of the atomic nucleus and has vision of bombing any possible enemies to smithereens. That's the Nazi way of approaching the subject. Sam gets ordered to get his hands on any kind of explosive, information about what the hell is going on at the Kaiser Wilhelm Gesellschaft in Berlin-Dahlem and Göttingen, where a good dozen Nobel Prize winners in physics are doing their thing. Well, what exactly is their thing then, you might ask? A lot of things, I assure you, but some concentrate on only three things: nuclear reactors, nuclear fission, and a nuclear weapon. So, Sam urges his friend Erwin to use his contacts to the Kaiser Wilhelm Gesellschaft to try to stop this potential nightmare. But then, February 1941, Erwin is in his home in Mariannenstraße 3, Berlin, when two guys in black leather coats approach the front door. Now, Erwin has all these papers lying around. But Charlotte, his extremely clever wife, has always been prepared for a situation just like this. In a second, she grabs her stuff and is gone. Poof! Puts her morning gown on, grabs a cup of coffee, and walks to the door.
Geheime Staatspolizei.
Ja?
Frau Respondik?
Ja?
Ist Ihr Mann zu Hause?
Ja? Erwin!
The Gestapo does not find a thing. They do take Erwin, though, anyway. His arrest does not relate to intelligence activities, but to alleged dealings with the Jewish community. We will come to that in a later episode. They keep him in custody for a good part of spring that year, but he is released, but remains under watchful eyes of the Gestapo, which is not very helpful when you're in the anti-Nazi spying business, right? Times are getting more and more dangerous, so our two friends better push the pause button for now. Not to arouse any more suspicion. I mean, really both of them. Erwin has lots of information, does not dare to pass on any intel for the rest of 1941 because a dead spy is a bad spy, right? But when war between America and the Axis powers is looming, Sam sends Erwin a secret information which might have sounded something like this. Let me do this on the phone, right? Let's pretend this is a very, very secure line, okay? Listen, Erwin, if I try to secure an assignment near the German frontier, perhaps it's possible for us to continue our friendship? Yeah, okay. Listen, if I'm successful in receiving such an assignment and you want to talk to me, send a messenger with your wife's lace collar from Belgium. You know the one? Yeah, that's the one. And if I send a messenger to you, he will bring my wife's collar to you. Yeah? Do you understand what I mean? Okay. Right. Okay. Bye-bye. Something like this? Erwin understands. There is hope on the horizon. What color? What color, you may ask? Erwin had 2 unique Belgian lace collars made for his and Sam's wife, which will now play an important part in the atomic spy game. The signal of trustworthiness, but there are still some hills to climb, my friends. It's December 41 by now. We are talking Pearl Harbor, and the US has joined the war. The entire US diplomatic and journalist corps is forced out of Berlin into a once glorious Spa hotel near Frankfurt. Not uncomfortable, but they're locked up, which is not really beneficial when you want to stop the Nazis from nuking the world. At the same time, Erwin is in trouble again. In January 42, he is arrested by the Gestapo, now accused of spying. Well, for whom? For the Americans. Why? Well, because of the close relationship to Sam Woods and his wife Milada, of course. Think of the Nazi Caruso scene in our first episode. Do you remember? That makes him a suspect. But again, thanks to Charlotte Respondek, the tidy housewife that she was, the Nazi can't find anything discriminating. Okay, Erwin can always rely on Charlotte. With some exceptions, if I'm totally honest, but that is a very different story. Okay, he is set loose. And then in autumn 1942, Sam and Erwin's spying career suddenly gets extremely exciting and hugely consequential. So, Sam is released in May and taken to neutral Lisbon, where they all board a ship to New York, and he arrives June the 1st, 1942. He is invited to Washington by his boss's boss, the U.S. Secretary of State, Cordell Hull, who praises his intelligence work and installs him as the Consul General in Zurich, Switzerland, to resume his activities and contacts. So, Sam is back in action by August. Remember, when I said that Erwin is well connected, do you remember? Well, he really is. Erwin has tight connections to none other than Max Planck, one of the founding fathers of modern physics. Erwin was actually a family friend and lived with the Plancks for a couple of years following World War I. Through Planck, Erwin is acquainted to none other than Werner Heisenberg, a German theoretical physicist and a pioneer of quantum mechanics, and to Otto Hahn. In December 1938, Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann succeeded in splitting a uranium nucleus by means of neutron irradiation. During the experiment, previously unimaginable amounts of energy are released. They used special chemical separations and analysis methods to prove that the reaction is what it is. According to the already known droplet model, the uranium nucleus could be described as an electrical charge drop of liquid. When the neutron is captured, it is set in motion in such a way that it splits into two fragments of approximately the same size, releasing a high level of energy. We are talking high level energy. This is called nuclear fission, and the German scientists begin to, and who is surprised, experimenting how fission can be used as an atomic bomb. A great number of scientists are involved in that project, and as the Allies document after the war, most of them were extremely curious if it was at all possible to build a bomb. How to make it, construct it, what was necessary to know. That was always their thing, eager to know how things work. Realizing the possible consequences of their curiosity, there is a big split. The ones who want to help Germany to win the war, having a patriotic feeling, others who are absolutely paralyzed by the thought of the Nazis getting their hands on such a horrible weapon. So, they have a big problem among them, and the Nazis, of course, have a big problem with them as well. For a very long time, they saw physics and nuclear science as a Jewish hobby, and removed scientists like Albert Einstein and Max Planck from having anything to say in the society. They wanted to Nazify the Kaiser Wilhelm Gesellschaft, meaning make war, not science, dudes. But the Wehrmacht and the Ministry of Armaments under at first Fritz Todt and then Albert Speer see the potential and taken control of uranium research to explore its military potential. Ergo, many Kaiser Wilhelm Gesellschaft scientists were assembled in the what they called Uranverein, or Uranium Club, if you want to say that, including Hahn and Heisenberg. They continue their research under Nazi supervision, and in January 1942, their progress is pretty much as advanced as that of the British and their American colleagues. This is exactly what Erwin Respondek learns from his contacts in the scientific and commercial elite. From Planck, he learns that a uranium bomb could, in theory, destroy humanity. From Herbert Müller, a high-level administrator in the Kaiser Wilhelm Gesellschaft, he learns about their tight research into nuclear arms, and Erwin's informants in Albert Speer's armament ministry tell him that the government works with the AEG, the Allgemeine Elektrizitätsgesellschaft, the prominent German electric company, to make this theory reality. He also learns from AEG director Hermann Bücher what a Swiss researcher named Walter Dellenbach is working on, and gives the following description. The world's most secret and most dangerous invention, by means of which, if successful, it will be possible to destroy England, Russia, and the United States of America. Erwin did not sleep well that night. Walter Dellenbach is a physicist and high-frequency engineer and studied under no other than Albert Einstein. He sets up his own secret research group supported by the Nazis and aid from AEG, just like Hahn and Heisenberg. How directed at making an atomic bomb his research is still debated, though. Now, to make a nuclear reactor, which you need to make a bomb, you need heavy water. That's water molecules, which instead of regular hydrogen has deuterium in it, a hydrogen atom which a neutron added to the otherwise lonely proton. Everyone in nuclear physics at that time knows this. The Allies knows that. It's theoretically possible to make an atomic bomb already in 1939. Yeah. They also know that Germany has some amazing nuclear physicists. although no one knows if Germany is actually building a bomb, they're really afraid of the Germans getting their hands on lots of heavy water, which is rare and hard to make. When the Germans invade and occupy Norway, they seize the biggest source of heavy water in the world, which is a byproduct of the Norwegian hydroelectric plant at Vemork. But the Norwegians managed to smuggle all the stockpiles through the German naval blockades and deliver the biggest existing supply of heavy water to the British shortly after the German invasion. But the Germans now have the plant and can make their own new heavy water. That is, if they are making a bomb. And that is what Bücher tells Erwin Responding, that a bomb is being built. Naturally, Erwin is shocked. And in the second half of 1942, he puts together a report of what Bücher, Müller, and these other sources told him. With the help of a Swiss attaché, the document is taken into Switzerland by a courier. He contacts Sam Woods in Zurich, and they meet at Lake Locarno. What does he, what do you think, have in his pocket? Yes, you guessed right. An innocent cream-colored Belgian lace collar to identify himself. Sam gets a treasure of information, details on scientific progress into atomic research, and that Hitler intends to fight a war without any compromises, willing to use means of destruction on a scale, that's what he says, never seen before. It includes concrete information on the 5 million Reichsmarks that appears to be allocated to leading professors in scientific institutions and another 32 million Reichsmarks for testing nuclear fission, adding that the military authorities are anxiously awaiting the results of these tests and exactly who is involved. By now, the British and Norwegians have stepped up efforts to stop the Germans from getting heavy water. In February 1943, they succeeded to sabotage the Wehrmacht plant to the point of making it unusable. A very exciting story in itself that we will get back to. But the Allies and the British are not sure that they have actually destroyed the stockpiles, not after having even sunk the ferry reportedly containing them, and no one knows how much heavy water the Germans already have in total anyway. If they have managed to increase production in a smaller plant in Bavaria, Germany, Sam keeps on gathering information, compiling, verifying, and translating documents, and sent it all to Washington in May 1943. Upon analyzing Sam's intel, they conclude that the German progress is as advanced as the Allied nuclear efforts, the Manhattan Project, if not more. Anxious and desperate for more details, Sam is told to ask Ralph, Erwin Respondek's pseudonym, if he can find out more about the progress and especially where the research is being conducted, for, eventually bombing it. In parallel, baseball player Moe Berg is recruited. The plan of the OSS is to drop him behind enemy lines in Yugoslavia with a parachute to make contact with German scientists, including Heisenberg, during a conference tour through Europe, get close and dig out information. He's even ordered to kill Heisenberg on the spot at the conference in Zurich if he should think that the Germans are on the brink of having the bomb ping. Here's the thing about Moe Berg, something I was wondering about. Due to his education and his resume, Berg is, depending on your point of view, either the smartest guy in baseball or the strangest man who has ever played baseball. I'm going to ask Indy about that. Indy has his own baseball program on YouTube. Did you know that? It's hilarious. He knows as much about baseball as he knows about World War I and World War II together.
Hello?
Indy, hi, it's Astrid.
Hey, Astrid.
I have a quick question for you. What do you know about Moe Berg before the war?
Let's see. Moe Berg. He graduated from Princeton in 1923. He studied Romance languages and classics like Italian, Sanskrit, Greek, French. He learned like at least a dozen languages. He became a Major League Baseball player after that. He had been a star shortstop at Princeton, but he accidentally ended up moving to catcher. He had a 15-year career. He was a below-average hitter, well, for the major leagues, which means he's better than everybody else in the world, but had an excellent fielder and a fantastic rifle arm. And even in the 1930s, he was already involved in stuff with, like, the State Department things. On a baseball trip to Japan in 1935, on a rooftop of some building, he took all these photographs of Tokyo. And these were the photographs used on the Doolittle raid in 1942, although they were outdated photos. Wait, you know what? Why don't we just do a special on him?
That would be a great idea.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for calling, listen, because I got to get back to, I'm in the middle of filming, okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay, see ya.
Berg listens to Heisenberg's lecture, even has a chat with him afterwards, and sees no immediate need to kill him. But are the Germans close to making an atomic bomb? Well, it doesn't matter, because, hold on to your shorts, the Nazis shelve the project. To this very day, there are a lot of conspiracies that the Nazis did not do that, had the bomb, but no time to use it, and that the Russians and Americans stole whatever was left in the different laboratories and testing sites that were abandoned in 1945. Both Russia and the US just grabbed enough German scientists to start their own arms race. But that doesn't make sense. The basic research was public, and the US already had the bomb. What we know indicates that Albert Speer, in charge of armament research, pretty much kills the project already in spring of 1943 by reducing its resources after setbacks in testing and because of a lack of heavy water. The Wehrmacht sabotage had succeeded. It is also possible that, as Moe Berg seems to have concluded, some of the researchers, especially Heisenberg, were purposefully not putting their full capacity to work. Instead, German scientific resources are now officially shifted towards other secret weapons. Respondic already hints at such developments when he reports that another weapon capable of decimating acts of reprisal of a military decisive nature is in development. Whatever it is, Sam Woods definitely wants to know. And that is what we will look at in our next chapter of this remarkable adventure. That's when Sam and Erwin's spying operation extends deep into the Vatican, even involving the successor of St. Peter, the Pontifex Maximus, the Bishop of Rome, Eugenio, Maria, Giuseppe Giovanni Pacelli, Pope Pius XII himself. Before I ask you to kindly join the Time Ghost Army, let me end with a quote from Otto Hahn after the war. We must have reverence for human life again. It cannot be the point of a world order to use what a development over millennia has put into man's hand to destroy man himself. By the way, all this atomic research will ultimately contribute to a time when rockets threaten to plunge the world into nuclear holocaust. One time, we came very, very, very close. You can watch our day-by-day coverage of the Cuban Missile Crisis right here. It's fascinating. Now, join the Time Ghost Army so that we can continue making episodes about the adventures of Sam and Erwin and a bunch more, of course. Don't forget to subscribe and all that. See you next time, darlings.